Like we always do about this time. Perfect.
Early the next morning.
Morning everybody. Did you have a good weekend? Hope so. It's Monday morning, 7:17. Really foggy today, only 12 degrees, so we've got right down in temperature again, so nice and fresh. And we are on our way to work. I've got to get in early, wash Bugs Bunny off the chaser, inspect the skirt, make sure it's okay. I make a point of fixing them on properly, so it's not just on the end caps, there's fixtures underneath, which is why it probably took such a whack and still stayed on the car. But yeah, we've got to get rid of the blood, I think. This morning I've got a Nissan X-Trail coming in. We've got to change the center console dash area. It's having a new radio, and he's bought some bits and bobs, so it comes with a sat-nav unit as factory, and he wants to get rid of it and put in an aftermarket CarPlay, Android Auto sort of smart radio. So we're doing a bit of work this morning to get that going, and then this afternoon we've got a Golf coming in for a head unit and a fascia kit, and see what the rest of the day brings, really. Had a nice drive up to Caffeine and Machine at the weekend. Was a bit spirited on the way up, a bit less so on the way back. We took it easy and just cruised along, but it was nice to get out with people, some friends, and just chill out and, you know, fly on the wall, talk about guano and just chew the fat. It was good, just what the doctor ordered. Yeah, I hope you're okay. Hope you had a good weekend. I've been reading all your comments. Thank you for your input. We've had a few subscribers join. Well done. Welcome. Happy to have you along. Thanks for coming. We shall get on our way to work. Hopefully we'll have no dramas today. No exploding pipes or cars getting damaged. I need to ring the insurance company actually and let them know what's happened. And I might try and dig into the Lotus if I got a bit of time today. I need to sort out that shotgun issue with the exhausts. So the engine is basically, although it's had some engine work done when I bought it, the guy had receipts to say that it had had some engine servicing work done. Obviously you saw the video, the state of the top of the engine with all the sealant in it. That's not ideal, so you then worry about the quality of the work that has been undertaken. Does that make sense? If they're not prepared to use gaskets for stuff and just stick silicone everywhere, you kind of wonder what else is lurking underneath. So I need to dig into that and figure out what else is bad, because I do know we've got some oil seals failed somewhere, whether it's turbo or well, my guesstimate would be turbo oil seals, because when I gun it smokes. You get odd puffs of smoke. Now if it were valve stem oil seals, the smoke should be there all the time continuously, and it's not. It comes and goes. So I would say that there's a turbo seal gone, which is not necessarily a big problem, because I've got 2 spare turbos, but I don't want to start sticking my nice stuff onto it, because that's the whole point of the forged engine, is all the new stuff goes on it. But we'll see. But it's definitely got a smoky issue of some description, much like this thing here, and a badly tinted window as well by the looks of it. going to get out of the outside lane or what? No. So a bit gutted it smokes, but I need to figure out why the petrol is backfiring. Again, a view on that would be that we've either got a coil pack down or I've changed the spark plug, so I doubt it's that, but we could have a coil pack issue or we could have a HT lead. Now if that's the case, what it's basically doing is it's filling up the bore, getting ready for a spark. The spark doesn't happen, and then obviously as the valve opens, the air exits and it's rich fuel. So that's why we're getting the pops and bangs when I'm, you know, giving it a little bit. So that needs to be diagnosed as well. Corona!
China.
And I need to dig into the wiring harness. I have a spare, so we are going to get that harness cut open and start kind of seeing if I can repin it. Maybe find some new terminals for it, but the harness needs some attention, so we need to get that done too. So there's a little list. I'm happy it's moving, but it's not. You've seen my engine build, you know how meticulous I am, and I am a bit anal about it, so it's nowhere near good enough yet. Moving is one thing, running properly is another. But we will get there. Slowly and surely. We're at work. Alright everybody, we've got our first one in. So this is a Nissan X-Trail. Comes originally with a sat-nav unit, which is this one here. And it's got a CD drive for the navigation. We've got obviously the old unit, the screen which we're changing. Now the customer has supplied me with a dash. Where has he put it? Is it in the back? Where's he put that? Ah, it's down there. It's in the bottom. Couldn't see the wood for the trees. So we have our old replacement dash unit here. So that's going to give us doubled in area to go at the top here for our radio. So we'll get rid of this sort of sat-nav control section. This radio will become a pocket, so we'll put in a little storage tray there, and his heater controls will stay at the bottom. Diff lock and everything else is the same, and his hazard switches, everything is going to go in there the same. But we're just going to do a little change on this and freshen it up. Should be good.
Montage.
So we're slowly cracking on with this. What I've basically figured out is that where the brackets have got to go on the screen to get it mounted in and sit nicely through our new fascia, which is now all sorted and ready to go in for the new radio. Well, that will look posh because that's going to get stuck in there. I've got to figure out a pocket for the bottom here. We've got to remove the navigation unit there. Another pocket's going to go in there. The microphone is down at the top here. Just got to stick that on, and our digital aerial. And we've got to put our top USB, which is going to go in that section there. All good and gravy. So there we go. We're all done. So I've got the USB coming out the top pocket here where he wanted it. Doubled in radio in the new fascia. We've got a pocket in there as well. I haven't taken out this one because this is like quite difficult to get to, so we're just gonna have to live with that in there. But we've got our steering controls all working, which is all beautiful. We just got to run through this setup. So let's go source and tone. This is the 250, this one. Demo mode off. Safe mode off. Driving position right. Colour, I'm guessing this one is orange. Background, that one, that one, that one. Done. So it's ready to go. Got there in the end. But it looks fantastic. And he should be happy with that, changing from his old crappy Navi to now a bit of interaction with a new device. Perfect. Let's give him a call. Wait for the next one. In a bit, guys. And we've got our next one in today. This thing's really tidy for a 2009 plate. Look at this. Like it stepped out the showroom yesterday. Somebody's been taking care of this one. So we're putting a Pioneer in there. We're going to change this radio out, get rid of the standard one, get a SPA DA230 in there for the guy. In a bit. Right then. Let's get this unit prepped for install. So we've got head unit, fascia, wiring harness, aerial adapter, patch lead. Rid of the box. Pioneer harness, coarse thread stereos keys, instruction manuals. First thing we're going to do is obviously unwrap the unit, get it out of this bag. Remove all the sticky stuff that Pioneer love to taunt me with, including the label that's going to leave a little mark on the unit. And we're going to get rid of that one, and so we'll get rid of the cage first off because we don't need that. If you're unfamiliar with this, this is for the Golf Mark 6. Cage comes out. Fascia comes out. So our fascia plate cover, we're going to toss that aside for 1 second. If we're using this kind of kit with the nice trim ring, we don't need the square fascia. So we'll get a 100mm cage and pop that in the radio hole first. Squeeze him in. These double rolled kind of cages can be a bit tight sometimes, but give them a little squeeze with your fingers, they go in the hole. Get it all the way to the bottom and then pull out your taps. So don't pull them out too far because you don't want to protrude out from the plastics and find this scratches the car on the way in or blocks the screws from being put in the side. Make sure it's all nice and home where it needs to be. And down there, and down there. What we're going to do is going to make the radio fit in here first, and then afterwards we're just going to do our wire harnesses and plug it in the car and it's good to go. So coarse thread screws,
in the kit they give you fine screws. They're not going to work with our car, so we're going to use the thin ones, which are the fine ones there. But we are going to pull this in here. And then we're going to measure roughly where our fascia is going to go. So we want the edge of the cage, which is going to sit on this tooth here, about there. But then we've got to make sure that we line up our coarse screws with this. So we'll basically give ourselves about 2 mil backwards, and then you'll find that the radio will sit flush with the cage, and we're lined up with our coarse thread screws here. Maybe go 1 more mil. The thing I love about these things, you can get your install kind of pretty much perfect. There's no excuse for sloppiness then. So we're going to go there because that's bob on. Just watching the Arctics trying to take out my windows. I don't know whether you've noticed, I've had my mole poles installed. So now if they run into the side of the building, they're really going to damage their trucks. Flip the unit, put the other one in. I'm going to go for the same spacing. Check it anyway. It's going to sit on there. Perfect. We get our Phillips, coarse thread, screw them in. And then this one. Now that's it pretty much for the cage. In the unit, little click says he's home, and we got our face around the right way, and there is our Pioneer installed into the fascia with the 100 mil cage. Easy as. Yeah, got it. Right, good. Then soft area. Obviously we don't want to scratch. This is a rubber mat, but I don't take any chances. Have a feel of your cloth, make sure there's nothing sticking up or spiky. Pop your radio down. Then everything else we've already installed in the car. So we've got our DAB aerial, we've got our microphone, we've got our USB, which is already in the glove box. So all we're doing now is we're looming up the radio, so we can just plug the thing in. And that's this one, pretty much ready to rock and roll. So we've got our aerial booster. This lead needs to be connected into this lead here. I'm going to go in there. So these two together. That's going to go in there. I'm going to tape up these two for now. We're not having a camera, but we do have our handbrake earth which we need to sort out. So again, center of the unit, cut it, a little bit of green, cut the black in half. These two are going to go together. This one's going to go together. So we now have a constant handbrake earth. I'm going to tape up these two because we don't want the mute to come on when the radio is in the vehicle. Quad lock and steering control harness adapter. So this vehicle, it will get the ignition feed from the Canvas Sense. There is no ignition in the car's 2 permanent lives, but we don't want that to happen because the Pioneer needs to see an ignition to activate the Bluetooth. So we're using this to denote when the vehicle's on, the radio's on, and it needs to see an ignition feed. Take those off, cut these cables down so we don't want long ones looking all untidy. 1, 2 different lengths so they don't twist and short together. And that goes in there. and then our steering control harness is going to go in there next to our microphone. This is the SPDA 230. We've got our solder and our soldering iron and some tape, so we can tape up the mute so that doesn't go to ground and then start turning the radio silent. Not that you have to worry too much about the purple one for now, but I'm going to cover it anyway. I'm going to tidy up our cables on the steering control harness. Just like so. I hear you cry, oh look at Alex getting all professional. So I got accepted into the YouTube Partners program at the weekend. So you may see adverts in the videos now. That just means I'm getting paid for my YouTube stuff because we hit the magic 1,000. Mike is supposed to be coming over to see me as well. We're going to drop off the snap-on lights. I'm going to get them installed, and then we're going to do the toolbox tour because you've been kind enough to get me to 1,000. So I'm going to be kind enough and show you all my stuff in a fantastic fashion. There we go. So we've got our aerial amplifier ready to connect to the car in the FACRA. We've got our quad lock for the power harness. Ignition, steering controls are going to come out of this bad boy, and we've got a handbrake earth connected there. So all we need to do now is USB, which is in the glove box, coming through into the car, microphone, connect that into the car, connect that into the car, DAB aerial, jobs are good. It's as easy as that. And I'm going to take you with me. Let's just get you set up. There we go. Right. A bit of light on the situation so you can see me. Right, now with the steering control harnesses you always work backwards, so you connect to the radio first and then you go into the car. The reason for that is when you connect up the power to the stereo, the CAN bus box within those first few seconds learns what vehicle, what CAN bus box it's connected to and what head unit it is supplying. If you do it with nothing connected, the box will learn nothing. It's the reason why you work backwards into the vehicle. So our head unit onto our radio, so that's our FM with our booster. Our power harness onto the quad lock. Make sure you get it around the right way. And there is our radio. I don't like cable tying up all of this stuff because if the cables get under duress, they've got no room to wiggle and move around. You will rip them out of their joints. And if it's a power feed, it could short itself out. So I never have done, and I don't like doing it. There's no need to. They can't go anywhere. So we get our key, switch him on, make sure the back's down, and then our unit comes to life. While I'm waiting for it to warm up, this one's quicker than the Kenwoods, so this one's loaded already. The Kenwood takes a bit more time. Just do a search on DAB. Now, you may have noticed, the keen ones amongst you, that the vehicle doesn't have steering controls here. You're correct, it doesn't. But the guy is paying for the full kit, he gets the full kit. It's connected, whether it doesn't or not. Just get ready to turn this down. So I fit the steering control harness even though it doesn't have it, because it still supplies the car's ignition. But if he ever takes this radio out of this car and transfers it into another vehicle that has got steering controls, all he's got to do is plug everything back in and it will work. if I supply him all the CAN bus lead without the steering control harness, he will think I'm a nice person. And I don't like that. So there's the radio installed. You've just got to put the fascia in, get it sat in there nice and neat. Setup of the time and the date. It's the 21st today. (2:07). Store in a radio station. We go settings, main settings. Go down, turn safe mode off, demo mode off. Down to CarPlay and Android Auto settings, move it to the right hand side. Illumination. Now this car has white and grey, white and red even. Grey. So we'll go graphic. Theme will go grey. Illumination will go red, so it stays the same. Now that's working. Yeah, we've got sound. Make sure the ignition turns off. Lovely. Make sure it comes back on and the radio station is stayed in the memory. If it is, pop this back together, pop that back together, put the screw in, the car's done. It's as easy as that. End of day. So here we go, last one has been delivered. So we got this Golf Mark 7 in, I mentioned it earlier. So at some point, some kind soul stole the radio from it. So they ripped out the sat nav, they cut all the data cables from the car, stolen the radio and left the fascia loose. So I am now tasked with putting in another radio to give this car something in order to not make the vehicle be written off. So VW themselves wanted 11 grand to change the internal wiring harness, a new radio, a new sat nav. Well, obviously that's not going to happen, so they were going to write this car off. And a friend of mine phoned me up and said, is it something you could look at? Well, half of that stuff I don't need, because we can put our own stuff in and it'll be fine. So we're going to do a full sat nav install, Golf Mark 7 fascia, all the bits and bobs that thing's going to need to operate again, and from there customer then gets it back without any issues, but with some nicer equipment that's not going to cost them 11 grand. So a different kind of move into the insurance game. I used to do it many moons ago. We used to do a lot of theft replacements, but it was like your typical Corsa and your Vauxhall Novas and Fiat Puntos and all the things that got kind of robbed as a, you know, as a teenage kid. Nothing on a £11,000 scale, but the process is still the same. The radio is still the same, albeit a little bit different now. But it's not something I'm intimidated by, that's for sure. But we will get this one sorted. I have had a word with Mike, my big box hero that got me my toolbox sorted out. He is doing a kind of big box tour with the rock and roll truck, the new one. Just seen a post on it from Facebook. So they're doing I guess you'd call it like a meet and greet tonight. I shan't be going over there because at the minute I don't need anything from the rock and roll truck, because he's already made me really happy and delivered me a Swish new box. But he is going to come down and drop off some lights for me. So we've got the internal lights, as in the ones that keep falling down. I can get rid of those finally and have something normal in the box. And then we can get the toolbox tool done. So it's the last kind of thing I'm waiting on, to get the lights put in the box properly, and then it's all kind of snap-on stuff and looks really cool. Another busy one tomorrow. We've got lots of stock coming in. Got a couple of cars coming in, and obviously now start plugging into the Golf as well. I'm going to tap up some of my local, shall we say, kind of parts people, so I can get the information on what cables I may need. Fortunately, they haven't trashed the quad lock, so we'll have the power for the new sat nav, and we're going to put a pocket in the glove box instead of the sat nav unit or head unit, and a touch screen in the dash. But that's it for today, guys. Thanks for watching. More stuff coming. Toolbox tour is imminent as soon as my little London mate. Yes, I am going to put that clip in.
You sound like you're from London. Yeah.
Comes true with the toolbox lights. I'm hoping he's going to pop down tomorrow with Jody or Jason, whoever shows. But until then, I will see you in the morning. Thanks for watching. Have a good evening. Bye.